Welcome back to Thumbprint Cellars. I'm Scott, the owner winemaker. Downtown Healdsburg, beautiful location to be drinking beautiful wines. Today we're visiting a 2003 Dry Creek Valley Cabernet Sauvignon from the Andelson Hilltop, or we call it the Top Block now, vineyard, in our continued tasting of library wines. You'll see I have a decanter out in front of me, and well, glasses are really kind of a mini decanter. There's 2 rules of thumb on that. We're going to probably drink this whole bottle tonight, so we're going to go ahead and pour it into the decanter, and I'll explain that as we're going, why we're doing that. First of all, there's going to be a little bit of sediment in the bottle. There's going to be a little bit of color left on the edges. Don't freak out. That stuff isn't going to hurt you. It's just a product of these unfiltered wines. The reason that we would use a decanter is to aerate the wine. We're arousing the bouquet. And you can do that in a wine glass as well. It's just a matter of being a little more patient with it. There's a little less air on the wine than you'll see in the decanter, although we didn't pour the whole bottle in. I got to take this home and experiment with it later. So it's R&D. It's part of the cost of being a winemaker in a small winery up here in Healdsburg. So this is what we would do. We would pour this maybe a couple hours before our dinner. The whole bottle would be in here. You wouldn't pour out the very last little bit unless you want your guests to have that extra little chunky part. Typically we would just leave that in the bottle. Maybe at the end of the evening you can pour it through a coffee filter for yourself and reflect on the memories. So there's one decanter there. The other decanter, again, is just pouring it into the glass. Get a little bit of air on the glass. I wouldn't pour yourself a giant glass all the way up here because you can't swirl it. You can't arouse the bouquet. Why are we tasting aged wines? Well, again, this wine was designed to be aged. 2003 now is 10 years since we picked these grapes. Although it did get 3 years in French oak barrels, so you got to subtract 3 from that, and about another year in the bottle before we released it. So typically we're at about that 7-year range on the Andelson Cab that it's been in this bottle. First thing I notice is the beautiful color. It does not have any of that bricking, oxidized coloration to it. It's a brilliant red, and just standing even a foot away from the glass, I can really smell that blue fruit coming out of there. A little bit of a toasty, almost a subtle yeasty character, and I haven't even put my nose in the glass yet. Typically, I'll do this for about, could be 5 minutes, could be 15 minutes before I even taste the wine, but I'll start to get aromas of it as well. Boy, it doesn't at all smell like an aged wine. It's been stored beautifully. How do you store wine to keep them aged? Well, in this case, we have a cellar. It's temperature controlled and humidity controlled. Particularly with wines with natural corks, you want to make sure that the cork is moist. We've been using this synthetic closure for some time now. I love it because it's a virgin plastic. It's made to act like a natural cork. However, it doesn't embed some of the problems that natural cork may have, like microbials that will basically spoil your wine. We've had about a 99.999, I mean there's a lot of nines after that, success rate with this cork. I don't know why more people aren't using them. They're less expensive than natural cork, and in my opinion, again, it's acting better. It's working better than a natural cork. So anyway, this is a wine that you don't have to store on its cork, on the side, upside down, or anything like that. In fact, I recommend the Thumbprint wines are stored cork up. There's a punt in the bottom of the bottle, which is where all the sediment sits, and as you're decanting the bottle, it will sit, pour it out. It should be pretty clear. We'll continue our conversation about library wines here at Thumbprint Cellars. I'm Scott Lindstrom-Dake, the owner and winemaker. in beautiful downtown Healdsburg. I hope you can join us soon.